6.8, our 9:14 a.m. item, presentation of proclamation designating the month of May 2024 as Military Appreciation Month. And if you are a veteran, please come on up to the dais. Or
All right.
not.
Lone Ranger. Well, first, before I read this off, I want to say thank you to Ginny for reminding me and keeping me on task. We do the Tango mic, and she takes care of that and is always on these proclamations when it comes to that, because we like sending them to the soldiers on the packing parties. I was thinking about something as I was preparing for this, as my son is 18, signing up for selective service. Thinking about that, explaining to him, well, there isn't a draft, but in case there is, you have to be ready for it. And so he's like, when was the last time there was a draft? And I was like, Vietnam. So Vietnam has so many soldiers that were drafted. And back then, volunteers were, they were a dime a dozen, but, there wasn't as many as there were drafted. And so I'd just like to emphasize that, because we're talking about the Military Appreciation Month and the fact that the Vietnam veterans really weren't appreciated at that time. And so I just have a soft place in my heart for Vietnam veterans, but I just wanted to also include that we do appreciate them as well. And I'm just giving that shout out to Vietnam veterans, because they are probably our seniors now. Like when it comes to, there's a few Korean War veterans, there's a few World War II veterans, maybe, but it's now the Vietnam veterans who are the eldest. So with that, I will read the proclamation. And so this proclamation is designating May 2024 as Military Appreciation Month in Lake County. Whereas the freedom and security that citizens of the United States enjoy today are the direct results of the sacrificed and continued vigilance by the United States Armed Forces over the history of our great nation. And whereas members of the United States Armed Forces and the family members who support them have preserved the liberties that enrich this nation, making it unique in the world community. And whereas in 2004, the United States Congress passed a resolution proclaiming May as National Military Appreciation Month, calling all Americans to remember those who have given their lives in defense of freedom and to honor the men and women of our armed services who have served and continue to serve our country. And whereas the months of May and June were selected for this display of patriotism because during these months we celebrate Victory in Europe Day, VE, Military Spouse Day, Loyalty Day, Armed Forces Day and Week, National Day of Prayer, Memorial Day, Navy Day, Army Day, HUA, and Flag Day. And whereas the months of May and June are an opportunity to acknowledge and salute the families of those called away to duty. And whereas Lake County is the place many veterans, close to 1 out of every 12 residents, proudly call home. And whereas the Lake County Board of Supervisors recognizes the courage and sacrifice of all veterans and active duty military personnel in our communities and throughout our nation. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Lake County Board of Supervisors does hereby designate the month of May 2024 as Military Appreciation Month in Lake County and calls upon all residents to show their gratitude and appreciation for our military personnel by the appropriate display of flags and ribbons. Passed and adopted this 14th day of May 2024, signed Chair of the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Sabatier.
Well, thank you for doing this. I realize you do a lot of proclamations, and it may seem as though they're trivial, but I can assure you they are not. I can speak for the ones you've done for us that we send in Operation Tango Mike care packages. Copies of this will be at our Veterans Museum. They'll go to our United Veterans Council. They'll be at Frick Hall. They'll be down at the Veterans Service Office. This may only seem like a piece of paper to you, but it's significant to those that read it, that realize they're being thanked and recognized. Small little caveat with this, we've been doing Operation Tango Mike for a couple decades now, and we had a soldier came home to a packing party, and he was talking about exactly this, the Military Appreciation Month proclamation. In Iraq, they were having a very difficult time. They'd had a bad week. They'd taken casualties. And one of his fellow soldiers said, this is terrible. This sucks. Nobody even cares that we're here. He pulled this out and read it and said, that's not true. This is what they do where I come from. So you do make an impact. So thank you for doing this and recognizing them.
So Jenny, I just want to thank you for always bringing these to us and making sure that we're on task, because we do a lot of proclamations, and it is important. Every single one of them are important. And you really have been a leader in this space for a long time. And thank you to everyone that served, and our colleague here, and we've got some in the audience. When I look at the wall in our lobby, I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude for those serving, but also the families. And when you're a military family and your loved one is overseas and you don't know when they're coming back and they're not here for holidays, that is a big sacrifice. And you only know it when you live it. And then and then sometimes they don't come back. So thank you again for bringing this to us today and always.
Thank you for those comments. I just want to add that I wish I knew, and I don't at this moment, and hopefully we can put it in next year's proclamation. We have a number of veterans who are part of the staff of the County of Lake, who serve their communities and continue to serve in a different aspect. And I know that that standing ovation was for you, as well as everyone else who have been part of the military in their lives. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I just want to follow it up with thank you for your service. Take the opportunity to say that every time, but it's also, as elected officials, our job to make sure when they do come home that they have the services that they need, whether it's mental health issues, other things that we're doing. So we just continue along that path. But PTSD and all the other things that change an individual when they go to war are very important, that we address those needs when they come home and take care of the folks that have sacrificed everything. So I just want to say thank you very much, and that's it.
I guess it's picture time, unless we're going to sing the Army Navy songs. But I only know the Army song, but I'm not going to sing it.